This is your host, Living Dead Cat. We turn down the music a little bit. Hello, Princess Peach. It's good to hear from you again, and I'm hoping that Panther is starting to feel better. Today's episode, we've got some awesome stuff going on because I was so stoked I was allowed to present to my company at work all last week, and it went really well. I really am proud of it, and um, yeah, I wanted to share that with everybody because this month is Mental Health Awareness Month. So I did everything I could during my time supporting mental health awareness and stopping the stigma. And oh no, he said he's not feeling better. I'm so sad to hear that. But hopefully he will start to pick up soon. So, Mental Health Awareness Month, it's definitely important for me for many reasons. And for a lot of people out there who are suffering from any kind of mental illnesses or mental health issues, and bringing it to light has been such a journey over the last 10 years in society in general. And to see it really coming around from what it used to be is just amazing. And I wanted to let everybody know that if you need to reach out, you can reach me on any of my social media platforms: Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. What's the other one? YouTube. There's quite a few, and things went very well. Whoops, I'm making all kinds of noise over here. I apparently forgot to set up everything. So I'm just gonna go ahead and get my camera set up for later. Um, but yeah, I wanted to share my mental health presentation. It was a PowerPoint that I did through work, and I spent several days making this and getting it prepared for last week, and I was really excited about it, and I got a lot of good feedback, and the company is really pleased with all of the awareness and the talks about it. And I've already had one person reach out to me about mental health and everything, and it feels really good. It's kind of my calling, my purpose, whatever you want to call it. So I will go ahead and get this PowerPoint started here in just a minute. Let me go ahead and hop into the group chat. Hi guys.
Hi.
Hope everybody's doing all right.
Pretty good. Making sure the storms don't knock out my power or something, but if they do, there's nothing I can do about it.
Yeah. I'm going to go ahead and paste the Discord channel into the stream. And if anybody wants to go ahead and hop in, remember it is an 18 and up channel, so be sure to follow those rules at least. The stream is family friendly, however, the Discord server is not always. So give me just a moment.
While you do that, you may want to turn up your volume. I can hear you only above a whisper.
Sorry about that. I had a little bit of an interruption here, but yeah, we should be good to go now. So I'm gonna go ahead and say hi to everybody who's in here. Hi, Squishy.
Hi.
And hello, Chef.
Good evening.
I'm not sure who else is going to hop on just yet. We did have a few cancellations last minute, but that's okay because guess what? People need time outside of the stream. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and get this PowerPoint going. So again, this was for my work. We are doing a health and wellness month, and I reached out and said, hey, mental health is part of wellness and such. And they're like, go ahead and make a presentation. That sounds great. So I did. So, as a disclaimer, I am not a licensed professional. My goal as a mental health advocate is to educate, destigmatize, normalize, and raise awareness. Please seek the advice of a professional therapist or psychiatrist if you think you may be experiencing mental health issues. And if you're suffering a mental health emergency, dial 911. That is extremely important. If you are capable of reaching out and having somebody to talk to during an emergency, 911 is always going to be a good idea. Um, it's probably something that would have been easier for me to do than to reach out to a personal contact when I had my severe depressive mode hit. What was it, a week or two ago? 2 weeks ago? 3 weeks ago? The days are
I
blending
can't remember
together.
either.
But it might be easier to reach out to 911 in a moment of panic like that. And it's definitely something I should have done. Because they can talk you down from it. They can send somebody out to keep an eye on you and such like that. So never discount 911 thinking that it's going to be, a waste of time or, a false call or something like that. If you're worried that it might be wasting, city resources or something like that, because that's part of why it's there.
Yeah.
So, something else I found through my research was that there's not just hotlines to call in, but text lines that you can send text messages to, which is fantastic for people with severe social anxiety and are just have that irrational experience when it comes time to make a phone call for anything. You can use the crisis text line. You can text home to 741-741. You can also text NAMI to 741-741 for the National Alliance on Mental Illness. That is local in Texas. I don't have the nationwide line on me now, but you can go to any of these as their websites and figure or find any kind of additional, not just hotlines, text lines, and crisis type of information, but also educational material on a lot of different mental health things. So again, there's links and there's also phone and text lines. And so I started it out with giving a definition for mental health because within the company, there's a handful of advocates, but there's also a lot of misunderstanding on what mental health is. So I gave the company a rundown. Mental health includes our emotional, physiological, and social well-being. It affects how we think, feel, and act, as well as how we determine stress, relate to others, and make choices. And that the factors contributing to mental health problems aren't necessarily just genetics or brain chemistry, but it can also happen due to trauma or abuse through our life experiences, or even acute and severe phobias. But while the majority is going to have to do with brain chemistry and genetics, there are definitely many cases out there for the others. And thanks to a conversation I had with Panther, also known as Never Knows Best 1408, go check out their stream. I looked into further the difference between neuroatypical and neurodivergent. And in general, it's differing in the mental or neurological function from which is determined typical or normal. However, there's different forms of it. Any form of mental health issue is a form of neurodivergence. However, specific ways the brain develops can cause someone to be neuroatypical. For example, anyone who has autism or is on the spectrum, Down syndrome, dyslexia, there were a lot more on my list. What happened to them? I'm using Google Slides, so it's not really picking up everything that I wanted. I don't know why. There's also, let's see, dyslexia, dysphagia. Those are all neuroatypical because of how the brain had developed. Uh, Neurodivergence would be more along the lines of bipolar disorder, borderline personality, depression, anxiety, ADHD, and ADD. Whereas, unfortunately, not listed on here is severe brain trauma can cause neurodivergence or neuroatypicality. Generalized anxiety disorder versus social anxiety disorder. So, a lot of people think anxiety is just, being anxious or nervous about something. They didn't realize how much of that could affect somebody's day to day life. So, I gave an example of both, and then on a later slide, I showed some symptoms. So, generalized anxiety disorder is a disorder characterized by excessive or unrealistic anxiety about two or more aspects of life, such as work, social relationships, financial matters, etc., etc. It's often accompanied by, but not limited to, heart palpitations, shortness of breath, or dizziness. Social anxiety disorder is a chronic mental condition in which social interactions cause irrational anxiety. For people with social anxiety disorder, everyday social interactions cause irrational anxiety, fear, self consciousness, and embarrassment. And both of these require a medical diagnosis because they affect day to day life and create additional stress. And then symptoms of generalized anxiety disorder is overthinking plans and solutions to all possible worst case outcomes, perceiving situations and events as threatening even when they aren't, pretty much being on the defensive anytime somebody says, does, or gestures towards you, difficulty handling uncertainty. And part of that I found out recently kind of clicked was that comfort that a lot of people with anxiety have in having a plan for something. There's a comfort in knowing what to expect or knowing what's going to be happening. It's not always necessary to have it set in stone, but to have a generalized plan for an evening, an activity, or something is a lot less fear inducive to someone with anxiety. Indecisiveness and fear of making the wrong decisions, difficulty concentrating or feeling that your mind goes blank, especially with performance anxiety. Somebody talks to you, calls on you in class, asks you to answer a question that you know the answer to, but for whatever reason, you freeze, your mind goes blank, you stutter, you can't remember all of a sudden, even though it's right there. Um, it's definitely something that I have struggled with at work quite a lot. I'll be asked a question and then just flounder for a good 20, 30 seconds before I figure it out. Inability to relax, feeling restless, feeling keyed up or on edge. This often happens when someone with anxiety is trying to go to sleep. It causes a lot of issues as you're constantly having racing thoughts, as the next symptom is you can't really sit still, you are constantly fidgeting with something. It's not ADHD or ADD. It's, while it does have some similar symptoms, it has actually been incorrectly diagnosed before, instead of showing anxiety. But it's a lot easier nowadays to be able to diagnose it correctly. There's a book that my therapist was talking about. I can't remember the name of it, but it is constantly being updated with new information and new diagnostic information. So every year, every 6 months, I wasn't sure, or I don't remember exactly the length of time between updates, but it does get updated regularly. Social anxiety disorder can cause intense fear of interacting with or talking to strangers, anticipation of the worst possible consequences from a negative experience during a social situation, analysis of your performance, and identification of flaws in your interactions after a social situation. I myself have had this countless times, saying, ugh, like an hour later, thinking, oh man, I should have said it this way, I should have said it that way, then it wouldn't have caused this, then it wouldn't have caused that, then it would have been better. It's constantly second guessing what you did and realizing what you should have or could have done differently or said differently. Avoidance of situations where you might be the center of attention. Worry about humiliating or embarrassing yourself. A lot of people with social anxiety on severe cases end up being fairly reclusive due to the severe awkwardness and fear of that embarrassment. The second most common mental health illness that I brought up was major depressive disorder. This is a mental disorder characterized by a persistent feeling of sadness and long-term loss of pleasure or interest in life, often with other symptoms such as disturbed sleep, feelings of guilt or inadequacy, and suicidal thoughts. It's more than just a bout of the blues. Depression is not a weakness, and you cannot simply snap out of it. It affects how you feel, think, and behave, and can lead to a variety of emotional and physical problems. For many people with depression, symptoms are usually severe enough to cause noticeable problems in day-to-day activities, such as work, school, social activities, or relationships with others. Some people may feel generally miserable or unhappy without really knowing why. And the biggest problem with people who suffer depression is they're afraid to speak up because they feel like it's a burden on somebody else, or they've heard enough times, just snap out of it, just cheer up, think positive, it'll be better. Those types of things are very detrimental to somebody's healing, and also it makes them think that it's not worth bringing it up again. And so stopping the stigma of mental health can really help those who struggle to reach out. The stigma, it's all in your head. Well, no kidding. We live with it every day. Help us. Help understand. You don't have to, take us to a doctor or something about it, but just understand and educate yourselves. That's the biggest part of it. Symptoms of depression. You can have a feeling of emptiness, hopelessness, sadness. Anger and irritability was something that surprised me when I got my diagnosis. Apparently, mood swings is a big part of it, specifically towards aggressive behavior. Short temper is one of them. Loss of interest, guilt, anxiety. Anxiety and depression usually go hand in hand. Feeling worthless and fixation on past failures. Physical symptoms would be sleeplessness and insomnia, or sleeping too much. A loss or an increase in appetite, which can lead to weight loss or weight gain. Sometimes you will get a numbness or tingling in your extremities and a downward pull from within, slow speech or movements, excessive crying, and lack of energy. Now, on a previous mental health stream, we talked about masking. A lot of the times, people who suffer depression are very good at masking. That's why a lot of the times you don't know they have depression until they've done something drastic or until they're gone. So the next part I talked about was panic attacks, because that goes quite in hand with anxiety and panic disorders. A panic attack is an intense wave of fear characterized by its unexpectedness and debilitating, immobilizing intensity. Symptoms may include pounding or racing heart, gasping breath, trembling, excessive crying, chills, chest pain, tingling or numb hands, weakness, dizziness, difficulty breathing, rocking back and forth in an overwhelming sense of dread. A lot of people that I've spoken to who have experienced panic attacks feel like they are so terrified and their body is going through so much stress that they feel like they are having either a heart attack or will. Panic attacks are not easy to survive through. A majority of the time you will survive through it. However, the feeling is that you won't. And it can last anywhere from 5 to 20 minutes on average. There have been reported cases that last up to and over an hour. So thinking about that and all of those symptoms, the longest panic attack I've had was about 45, 50 minutes. It felt like days, and it was not easy to get out of. Some of the coping mechanisms, or one of the coping mechanisms that has worked for me and a few others, is the 5 senses strategy. As soon as you feel a panic attack setting in, look around you and find the following: 5 things you can see, 4 things you can touch, 3 things you can hear, and 2 things you can smell, 1 thing you can taste. While it's extremely difficult to concentrate on anything outside of the panic, this method can help pull someone out of a panic attack. It's a way to distract the brain and return to a controllable state. One moment. Just received a couple messages here. Because my mic is a little quiet, but I don't know what else to do about that. I've turned it up so much. Let me see if I can't do something else about it. I don't know if I can fix it right now. One moment. Yeah, I'm up pretty high. Let's see if that helps.
Quite.
Okay. There we go. Alrighty. So, next there was intrusive thoughts versus racing thoughts. Because intrusive thoughts, you'll get that in it with anxiety. However, with racing thoughts, you'll get that. Wait, no, sorry. Swap it around. Intrusive thoughts is with depression. Racing thoughts is with anxiety. My bad. Don't want to give wrong information. So, intrusive thoughts are unwanted thoughts that can pop into our heads without warning at any time. They're often repetitive, with the same kind of thought cropping up again and again. They can be disturbing or even distressing. And it's perfectly normal for anyone to have an intrusive thought on occasion. For example, when I was told about it, my psychiatrist said, imagine you're standing on the edge of a cliff, admiring the view, and there's a sudden fleeting thought of jump that crosses your mind, but it's gone as soon as it pops up. And you realize, that's silly, I'm never going to do that, and whatever, and then it disappears. That's normal once in a while. However, people who suffer depression have a constant barrage of intrusive thoughts of self-harm and self-deprecation that makes them constantly worry about their choices and behaviors in everyday life. They can be anything from thinking your friends don't really like you, or that you don't belong somewhere, or immediately after saying something, thinking, why would you say something like that? You need to stop talking, you're a bother to everyone. That kind of stuff is non-stop. It's why a lot of people who suffer anxiety and depression end up listening to very loud or industrial type music. It helps drown out the inner chaos that's already there. Racing thoughts are fast-moving, often repetitive thought patterns that can be overwhelming. They may focus on a single topic, or they may represent multiple different lines of thought. And it's something with anxiety sufferers constantly struggle with. Overthinking and worry is a pattern mixed with problems that end up focusing on the worst-case scenario, and they're often in quick, rapid-fire succession and don't stop. An example would be, I need to budget the money, but I also need to clean the house. My child has to go to the doctor, but I don't know if I can afford it because I need to budget. And if I can't afford basic health care for my child, the doctor's probably going to call Child Protective Services on me, and then I'll lose my child. I'll probably go to jail for neglect and never see my friends or family again. They'll think I abandoned everything and call me a terrible parent. What am I going to do? These thoughts to somebody who is neurotypical might seem a little out there or beyond realistic to think of, or even a little nuts. But somebody with anxiety, this is a constant thing. It's not something we can help. It's not something we strive to do. It's a symptom of our mental illness. And if you have both anxiety and depression, you have racing thoughts blending with your intrusive thoughts at times. So, our brains, unfortunately, are never silent. And when I first was on the medication for my anxiety and depression, there were moments of silence in my head, and it was the most peaceful moment I had ever experienced. The third and final, most common mental health illness that I talked about at work was post-traumatic stress disorder, which is, by definition, a psychiatric disorder in people who have experienced or witnessed a traumatic event, such as a natural disaster, a serious accident, a terrorist act, war or combat, rape, or who have been threatened with death, sexual violence, or serious injury. Please believe me when I say this looked better on actual PowerPoint. I don't have PowerPoint, so Google Slides is really messing up my lineups. Common symptoms for PTSD are inclusive of being easily startled or frightened, self-destructive behavior such as drug or alcohol abuse, irritability, angry outbursts, and aggression are very common, as with nightmares and night terrors. Detachment, avoidance, hypervigilance, like looking over your shoulder every few minutes, trouble sleeping or concentrating, overwhelming guilt or shame, which can include for all of humanity, not just yourself. Flashbacks, hopelessness about the future, and recurrent unwanted memories of the event. Now, for the next few slides, I was not allowed to present these at work, possibly because they were personal accounts, possibly because they were too triggering. But for the next few slides, there is a trigger warning. They are personal accounts from either myself or someone who has been interviewed with permission to share anonymously. If you are sensitive to listening to other people's traumas, or if the content of war, suicide, or panic attacks can trigger your mental illness reactions, please mute or check back in after about 10 minutes. While facing your traumas can promote awareness and healing, this should only be done with a licensed professional in a safe environment. This is a personal account from a Vietnam War veteran. He was a medic in the Army. He never knew why, when he came home every day, he would lose control and rage at everything. It wasn't until he sought help that it was discovered a trigger was causing the sudden snap into an aggressive behavior. While serving as a medic in the U.S. Army, he'd seen some gruesome sights. However, it was the smell of someone dying, the post-mortem voiding of the bowels, or with their bowels perforated from combat that was the start of this particular trauma. Whenever he came home, his wife at the time was not taking care of the home well. The smell of animal leavings would hit his nose and immediately trigger the emotional response of anger and aggression brought forth from his time in Vietnam. It wasn't until 3 to 5 years after that he discovered his trigger through therapy. It was the start of his healing. Personal account of an abuse victim, civilian PTSD. After the first year of their child being born, the father of the child started drinking and staying out late, reducing the care and time spent with their son. He would accuse her of neglect and taking things out on their child when he would refuse to assist with parenting. Many instances occurred where emotional, financial, and isolation abuse were conducted. He called her his live-in maid and nanny, even though they shared a child together. Eventually, he threatened her life. The fear of him coming home started the traumatic reactions. Now, safely away from the abuse, her PTSD is triggered by many different types of events, such as a door opening or closing, especially slamming shut, raised voices, yelling, seeing the same car that he drove, gaslighting, being forced to clean up another's mess, and she also struggles with self-confidence from the constant insults as well as concerns on her abilities as a mother. On May 4th at 5:10 p.m., I had a severe depressive episode. Due to the side effects from a new medication, my depression was exacerbated into a dangerous level. I did not simply have intrusive thoughts, but was actively planning on a way to end things. It terrified me because the thoughts wouldn't stop running through my head. I tried to reach out for help, but was physically incapable of pushing the buttons on my phone other than to scroll through my contacts. I ended up having a panic attack after and came down from it about 45 minutes later. I've since reduced the medication through the advice of my doctor and will change to a different one after I've reduced it enough to stop taking it. I immediately reached out to loved ones and friends, as well as my therapist and psychiatrist for help to talk about what had happened after the event. I'm okay now, and I learned a lot about myself during the sudden severe low. While I was going through this, I typed up the little message that's up top. The darkest, most helpless you feel during a heavy depressive episode is when you're scrolling through your contacts on every possible app, not knowing who to reach out to. A part of you knows you can reach out to anyone, but the fear holds you at bay. Your mind races at what ifs and shuts down each person with scenarios you can't bring yourself to face. So you keep scrolling, tears flowing, your heart sinking at the darkness closing in on you until that familiar numbness sets in, and you just stop caring at all. This was the second time in my life that I ever had considered suicide. First time I was talked down from it. The second time I went through it alone. And it wasn't easy. And it really opened my eyes to what people who have been diagnosed with severe or major depressive disorder with suicidal ideation, because my diagnosis is without. I don't want to die. I don't want to do any of that. But to feel like there was no other option, to feel that there was no logical way to keep going, made me realize what these other people are going through every day of their lives. And it makes me want to do this kind of work even more. Because if any of this helps anybody out there, if any of these experiences can help somebody else, that's why I do this so much. And for those that are suffering so greatly, I hope that this reaches some of you. And just a reminder, and thank you, Peach, for saying it to me for the first time, it's okay to not be okay. Acknowledgement of your mental health can be good for a starting point to a place of healing. Never discount or dismiss someone's feelings when they open up to you about mental health struggles. Invalidation can be catastrophic to someone's stability when it takes so much courage and effort to open up to someone. Compassion, empathy, and validation, and a non-judgmental attitude are key. If you're unable to find a mental health professional, you may find a support group beneficial. They can be found online via Facebook, Twitter, or many other social media platforms. You guys know I run a mental health awareness stream every Tuesday from 7:30 p.m. Blah, 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 blah. You can come on here in the chat room anonymously. You can come into Discord and listen. You can speak if you are comfortable speaking. But I do this, and my friends and viewers, we all come together to do this. We share our mental health experiences, coping mechanisms that work for us, in hopes to help others feel seen, feel safe, and gather the strength to reach out for help. It is so important to help bolster the strength of others so that they can feel like they can seek help. Because when you're at that low point and you feel worthless and not worth anyone's time, that's the time that we need the strength the most. While I am not a licensed professional, I have made myself available to lend an ear on countless occasions throughout my life. No one should feel like they're alone. You're seen, you're heard, and your feelings are valid. In the final couple of slides, this one was a table that I found somewhere online. I don't remember where, but it was really, really nice. So to stop the stigma of mental illness, be open to conversations about it. Be respectful with your language, the words you use. Be understanding of what you might not understand, and support other people during their struggles and their recovery. Be active in spreading mental health awareness. See the person, not the illness. Most of us that struggle have to tell ourselves on a daily, I am not my mental illness. Try to find the person who is suffering from it, not focusing on what they are suffering from. Physical health and mental health, they are interchangeable and they are equal. They are equally important. Educate yourself and be educational about mental health or mental illness, and admit if you need help. Sometimes it is the hardest step to do. And then, thank you for listening. Please consider donating to any of these, and there are many, many, many more mental health foundations and alliances and lots of places that help raise awareness, help people with their struggles and everything else. So that was my PowerPoint. And I still have the Cash App for Setsu on here because they have been struggling. I've got my shoutouts up in the corner. Spanner in the Works, Tower of Visa, K Applebee, Kitsue, and DPS, also known as Dragon Panther Studios. Blah, 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 blah. So if anybody wants to open a conversation, it's kind of general from here on out. Let me know what you think about the presentation. If you want a copy of it to send anywhere else. And I will get my camera back up and running so I can do another egg.
Well, that was a lot of info. I'm trying to remember what all three topics were: anxiety, PTSD, and what was the third one again?
It was anxiety, depression, and PTSD.
Depression, that was kind of all molded together right in the middle of that. I think one of us was talking about anxiety earlier. I don't know if they wanted to talk about it, but I don't know.
Let me peek in here and see who all is in here now. Oh, hi Panther. Oh, I know you're struggling, but I hope you feel better soon.
Right now I don't have anything to say on all that. I think I'll listen.
Alright, dang it. My camera's not wanting to turn on. I can do this, I swear. There we go. And doink. Maybe. No. Try again. Dang it. It's showing up on the camera, but not on the computer. Hooray for technical difficulties!
Okay.
There we go. Now I can hear it. Ta-da! Alright, there we go. And, of course, Jasper.
Is he gonna purr for us?
Let me see. Jasper, you want to say hi to everybody? I don't know. Could y'all hear it?
No.
No? Okay. So excuse me. Excuse me. Excuse me. Heavy. So I recently had a commission piece for one of these awesome eggs, and I want to test out some more stuff that I wanted to do with it. So I've got some like shimmer. Oh god, you can't even see it at all. I've got some like shimmer stuff. It's called Dragonfly Glaze, and I wanted to see if I could just put a dot on every single one of these and what it would look like. Because it dries clear. Let's turn down that brightness. So I figured this would be a good time to do this. So this will leave like a gold shimmer on these spots.
Nice.
And this is why the cost for these is going to be as much as they are, because this takes a lot of time to hand paint each individual one, and then adding any additional details post assembly. The assembly itself takes some time too, but also material cost has been surprisingly high.
You allow puns on your stream.
Of course I do.
You know that geology rocks, but geography is where it's at.
Okay, that one's good.
Hopefully that helped broach some of the mental health anyone else. There's like, just a.
Well, after that presentation, I lost a bunch of viewers. No. So, news is I am going to start an Etsy store or something to sell these. And my goal is to at least have like the bare bones up and running by next month.
Good.
So if anybody is interested, you can message me on any of my social media platforms and blah blah blah. And the majority of the proceeds are not going to go into my pocket. There will be some set aside for material purchasing. Oh, this is looking really cool. Hi, Panther. I know you're still there. And also, Dragon Panther Studios is going to set me up a link on their website to link to my store page when I get it up and running. And they helped me figure out reasonable prices because I can't price for squat. I don't know the worth of things. But until Setsu, aka Joker, in DPS Studios gets settled in a little more, the remainder of the proceeds that are not going to materials are going to go to them in hopes that they can get set up somewhere again soon. And afterwards, a good chunk of the proceeds are going to go to Dragon Panther Studios to help them get going. So yeah, that'll help them too. But with gas prices and everything, I almost need to set up a GoFundMe for my gas tank.
And owing to the fact that it's a worldwide problem, someone might have helped, but Jesus.
Yeah. And I need to come to grips with the fact that I do too much for others sometimes to my own detriment, and I need to stop doing that.
Yeah.
I don't want anybody to feel bad for any of the help that I've given them, but I tend to give too much and silently suffer the consequences thereafter. So I need to quit doing that. And budget any donations that I do out of my own pocket before I, have like 15 doctor's appointments in a row or something after that. But yeah, I had a wonderful trip to the doctor today. And that is sarcastic. I was called back after my physical to pick up a machine thing to monitor my sleep. So for a little sleep study to see if I have sleep apnea. Yay! My dad did. And with my weight and my age and things, they need to start checking it. Make sure I don't stop breathing in my sleep. So I get to wear a little machine tonight. It's not going to be like a CPAP or anything, but it does register my pulse ox all night long and see how much sleep I'm actually getting. So there's that. Turns out my insurance covered very little of it, and it is a $400 bill that I did not have the money for today. Luckily, they know that I pay promptly every time and don't raise a fuss, so they were able to work with me to wait until I get paid on Thursday, and then I can pay it out in installments. So, yay! This is turning out really pretty. I wish the camera would pick up the shimmer, but it sucks that it doesn't. These little gold glimmers are looking really good. And this is something I've been wanting to do on these for a long time, since I got started.
Just a little concerned how you're going to hold the egg when you get to the other side.
I have an eyeball, or half of one. But I'm not going to finish the whole thing right now, obviously. But yes, I will get as far as I can. and then have to stop. But I like this. This is also very calming for me. Whoops, maybe I should hold it under the camera. So how's everybody doing? I know poor Panther is sick. Might be the flu.
I'm very sick, but I'm done cooking.
Yay!
Oh, I'm sorry, man.
It's okay, it happens.
It's not supposed to. Not right after you get back home from visiting.
And better than right before I leave.
This is true. Silver lining? Sort of. Oh. And I've been reached out by a couple of people saying that this week is not really a good week and that they can't join the stream, and that's okay. I will be checking in on them later on after the stream ends to make sure they're in a good place, or at least a good enough place. Oh, dude, this looks so cool. It looks like they have tiny little gems on each scale. And I have two other colors of this shimmer. It's like a dark blue and then like a teal or an aqua. So I bet that would look good if I did it on some dark blue ones. And some of them are starting to dry. Haha. Success. Ooh. A little bit of storm.
Earlier, my dog was out and just started key-size hail. Like,
Oh.
good God, it came out of nowhere. Let the dog in.
I don't know if we'll get any hail then.
Anybody ever clean when they feel anxious?
Yes. Usually more so when I'm angry, though, or irritated. Although I don't like cleaning. Peach says yes, she does anxious cleaning.
Yeah, half of my shower is bleached right now.
Is there anything in particular that's making your anxiety any worse?
That I can pinpoint. If I could, it would be nice.
I know, right? I do have another update to the future list. Let me see if I can pull this up real quick. Like future stream topics. Here we go. We've got imposter syndrome. I know we touched on it before, but I don't remember. I might have to go back and rewatch some of this stuff to see if we did a full episode on it. There's also going to be workplace environments and workplace stress. Oh no! I smudged. Yay, I got it. And Mental Health Awareness Month, that was this one. So yay! Friendships, or no, family relationships. Sleep issues. Let's see. Eating your feelings or eating your stress. That's a big one for me. Helping others to help yourself is another one that's really big with me. A lot of the reason that I help and donate so much and do so much for others is because it helps me feel good about myself. And I don't know why, but I will often, more times than not, do it to a point where there are some heavy consequences for me later on down the road. Like I'll donate way too much and not consider, future costs for the rest of the paycheck, or I'll, give my time to somebody who's severely struggling way too much, and then I have no time for my self-care or something like that. And it's weird because it's almost like I feel I have some kind of obligation to do so to prove my worth as a person for some, like, atonement for an unimaginable wrong that I did in a past life or something. It feels like I have to do more than just say I care. And I don't know why. Let's see. Schedule your wellness and then mental health apps. So I will figure out some more in terms of which days those are going to be. But yeah, those are the next topics in the near future.
Okay.
And if anybody else has any suggestions, please feel free. I'm always open to that.
Not really any suggestions. If you hear anything on my microphone, it's because the next brainstorm just started on my Windows.
Yay.
As far as what you said, that sounds like you're going to cover a whole lot of ground pretty quick, so right on.
Thank you. And again, if anybody wants a copy of that PowerPoint, feel free to do so. Or feel free to reach out, let me know. And I've thought about putting like an edge on some of these scales in this dragonfly shimmer blaze stuff.
Edge, like how so?
Do what?
An edge? You just said how so?
Like tracing the edge in this shimmer blaze, not just a dot.
No, not there.
Do what?
Oh.
Said no, not there. I'm joking.
Ha ha ha. Because I've got a few of these little, whatever tools these are. And some of them get real tiny on the tips of them. So I was wondering if I could possibly utilize that to trace the edges of some of the scales. And I think I'll do that with another one. And if anybody has a suggestion for colors for another egg, feel free. Or if, ooh, there's an idea. If anybody wants to purchase one, I can paint it or assemble it on the stream. And that'll be pretty cool. There we go. I got them all. Okay, I want to stop messing with it before I drop it. Okay, none of it smeared. Yay! I'll wash that in a bit. There. So I have this little guy. It's a little 3-inch egg. And then I've got these colors. I've got this like really dark, almost metallic blue. And then I've got this just a blue. And then I've got this very dark, almost metallic red and a like less shiny metallic red. So I'm thinking of combining the darker of each. What do you guys think?
I think having 2 different colors in a box like that would drive me nuts.
Well, it's specifically half and half on this one. This one is some leftovers here and there. I don't remember where they all are. But the majority of them are all here, of the good color. Well, I mean, I like all the colors, but still. But thinking of doing that one stripe style that I did before. That
So what got you started doing this, Kitty?
do what?
What got you started doing this?
That would be inspiration from Adralix. Because he had one. And then I was like, you know, I bet I could do that. That's just thumbtacks and a styrofoam egg.
Now you can't quit.
Yeah. It's very addictive and very pleasing to do. I hope it's pleasing to watch.
Oh, very, very, very.
Okay, good.
It's amazing I haven't fallen asleep on the stream watching the hypnoticness of you doing your work.
Yay! I'm calming.
Until you're not.
Well, that's not something I want to share.
But say, if you don't, the gremlin you speak of once in a while sometimes does it for themselves.
It's true.
I wish my gremlin would come out and play more.
I mean, I hear if you feed them after midnight. Oh wait, that's Mogwais. Then they become gremlins. They like water.
Right.
I thought this one liked sandwiches. Oh, I did a little something different myself tonight.
Oh yeah?
I never really made fajitas before, and I didn't have meat diet. Well, they get meat diet chicken. So I'm like, okay, fajitas. What is that exactly? I mean, it's supposed to be not really oily, but a little bit. It's supposed to be seared. It's supposed to have the ingredients all locked into the meats and the veggies. Oh, I know what to do. Marinate it. Got a recipe for cumin chili powder. I got jalapeno, some onions, and bell peppers. Yeah, pan seared them. Put them all up in a tortillas. Came out
Nice.
really nice.
I bet. That sounds delicious.
So I had to butter some corn and get some black beans involved. Finish rounding out the taste.
Heck yeah. Did you make any salsa?
No.
Or guac?
No, nobody I live with really likes avocados, and I'm okay with them. As far as my own salsa is concerned, the stuff we sell here in the state of Texas does its own job as it is off the grocery store shelves. Wasted effort on my.
I like making fresh pico sometimes.
Well, pico de gallo, yes. Especially when you first blend it and take the lid off it and all the seasonings hit you in the nose.
So it's pico, that's onion, tomatoes, and cilantro, right?
Correct. Oh, for something spicy, let it right in.
What was that, Squishy?
And jalapeno.
Oh, and jalapeno.
Now, a wee bit of vinegar, if I remember right.
Lime juice is normally my preferred.
Lime juice is better.
Okay, so apparently this is a Captain America egg.
Why not? I'll find my brother, James. He got himself one of the new wrestling games. They've been crap for years because the company we went with, but they changed companies this year. So to create a character mode not only is a lot easier to work with, it's also friendly for graphic cards that are a little lower and a little higher. Somehow it all works together.
Yay.
Captain America you can make nicely, except the shield is egg-shaped. So without knowing it, you probably just made something my brother might want.
Well, it will be on sale. It will be for sale.
Yes, please do. Make sure you get an actual markup on them. It's okay to only get enough for supplies again and put the rest in charity, but I think your labor is worth something.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I'm also saving up for a good airbrush because I got a cheap one, but now I know why it was so cheap.
Yeah.
So I need a not so much like a high-end airbrush, but you know, not $20, $30. Because apparently the one I got was mostly for makeup application. I was like, what the hell? Or heck. And so it clogs very easily. And the compressor battery life on it, it's pretty much handheld only. There's no external compressor. It's all just built together, and you can't use it while it's on the charger. It's the safety feature that's on it. So the charge lasts for maybe 20-30 minutes. Then you got to charge it again. So if you put too much paint, that's going to take longer than 20 or 30 minutes to paint. You pretty much have to let it charge and then rinse out all the paint you just put in there, or any paint that's left. Other than that, it's great coverage. These are all, the blues are the ones that I used the airbrush with. The red ones are the ones that were still hand painted. Whoops, what am I doing? He's a blue stripe.
Single panel comic. Talking dog to his owner in a car. Pointing out the new pine tree air freshener that the owner just hung. Dog says, that must smell good to you, I bet, but to me it makes me want to use the bathroom all the time.
Cute.
Guess that wasn't as funny as I thought.
I thought it was funny. I can see it as a Far Side comic.
Yeah, I don't think it was Far Side, but it was one of the ones that follows the next thing. The
And of course, there's hair and everything.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, this part's cool. You ready?
Go.
Only when it's barely started. Whee! I'm easily amused.
I think that's a good trait. A lot of people who are easily amused usually like to put laughter and kindness in the world more than not.
I believe it.
At least that's what I've found so far. Just because there was a bolt of lightning out there doesn't mean that you need a blink lamp.
Are you arguing with inanimate objects again?
It never ends.
Such a great pastime. So this could be either Captain America or Spider-Man or Superman. So many options. Or Mario, you know.
Kitty, I do think I would like a copy of that PowerPoint.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll definitely send it to you. No problem.
And heart palpitations are absolutely no fun.
No, they're not.
Oh, awesome. I think I get those myself sometimes. I feel like it. Oh, you gonna be okay?
Yeah, I'll be okay. Just nice to be here talking with people. So.
Or even listen. So you can get your breath back.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
always scares me when it happens to me, man.
Do what?
Well, sometimes I get short of breath, and yeah, I feel like heart palpitations once in a while myself. It always scares me to death when it happens, but it only lasts for maybe a few seconds. Get real lightheaded.
That's not good.
It's one of those things where you don't normally feel your heart beating.
Mm-hmm.
So when it all of a sudden like shows up and ends up in your throat, it's like, okay,
Oh my
we can
goodness.
stop this now.
Oh dear. There was a school shooting at Robb Elementary School in Uvalde, CISD.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't
the-
hear about that yet.
One of the upper school kind of deals, I think. Not quite private, but not like what IC would be, if I remember right. The details of it so far is that the shooter, 18 years old, killed his grandma first,
Oh
then
no.
went all the way to that elementary school to kill 13 kids, one teacher, and shoot 2 cops on before he kills himself.
Oh my goodness. And it breaks
Basically,
my
that's how it
heart.
went down.
It breaks my heart to think that the majority of school shootings are because of mental illness, bullying, and such like that. And
Of older teens, very young adults primarily, especially of the male gender, and pretty much usually of the white ethnicity. Wonder what's up.
well, I know pressure from family and expectations can drive people. I know instability in mental health, such as schizophrenia, undiagnosed, bipolar, undiagnosed. Those things can go undiagnosed for most of people's lives. Depression as well, because it can trigger that aggressive behavior. It's more likely a mental health disorder than it would be for out of pure unadulterated malice.
Yeah. Been seeing a lot of ideas about what's up on some social media, people that I know. And one of the big ones someone found is interesting that in about the same time, school shootings started becoming, like, really noticed in Sandy Hook and more. Although gun violence is remained pretty steady and kind of on the low side throughout all the other ways people end up dying or killing one another, whether accidental or not. Around the same time, there's been a heavy spike in extremely heavy psychotropic drugs like the ones that are supposed to help treat mental illness, but a lot of them are almost on the bad side of how much often they're being prescribed. Nor apparently are the ones prescribing them always being careful about making sure no one else in the household is involved.
Mm-hmm.
So that might be a good topic for conversation.
Well, there's also correlation versus causation. So while there may be a lot of similar scenarios, it may not have been a cause of the instability. However, I do know that sometimes, especially starting new, depending on the doctor and the severity of the case, you may have to start up on something a bit more aggressive to try to get your symptoms under control. And that can trigger more severe cases of depression and such like that.
Okay, that actually makes even more sense. In that case, it's less about that sort of stuff and more about, yeah, let's just go right back to the one thing nobody wants to talk about. We have no real gun control for a nation of our type versus everyone else who surpassed us along.
And just a reminder, I'm going to kind of put a hold on that topic, at least for now.
Alright.
Because I know that's going to get into more political debates and such like that. And that can be, what is it? The two subjects for polite conversation that you should always avoid is politics and religion. So that's what I'm going to not talk about on this stream.
That's fine. I'm just trying to sit here and think about what topics I could think of that doesn't eventually get politicized or religious. Almost all do. The mental health we have here is one of the last I could think of.
This is true.
Food.
Food? Yes, food.
Food doesn't get political.
Unless there's too much oil in it, in which case, no, I'm messing with you.
Shut up.
Did I show my brat side?
A little bit.
You think?
I've said it before, I'll say it again. You, sir, are adorkable.
And I'll say it as many times as you need to hear it. I do what I can.
So, speaking of food, I had a bowl of cereal for dinner because summertime is a time for cold food for me. I get hot way too easily, so I try to eat... Whoops, I'm not even on camera anymore. I try to eat cooler foods to keep, cool, I guess. So I'll stick with like salads and cereal. Anybody else have a seasonal dish that they typically go towards or cuisine?
I eat a lot more salads during the summer, for sure.
Is yours for the same reason as mine, or do you think there's an underlying?
I don't know. During the summer, I just crave vegetables more.
I wonder if it's because it's got more, water intake through eating salads and veggies.
That's possible. I'm trying to expose myself more to getting out there and doing more things that would cause me to sweat a lot and, lose electrolytes and things of that sort. So.
Hello, Jasper. Don't lay down on the paint. Don't lay down on the paint. Don't lay down on the paint. Okay. Hi. He is so stubborn. Mom, you're supposed to cuddle me. What are you doing? He's giving me
What cat is not?
Do what?
So what cat is not?
Angel. She did not want any attention unless she was the you know, unless she started it, she did not want any attention ever, and it was rare when she would start it. That was my
You were
aunt's
looking for instigator, I think.
instigate. Yeah, she was not often the instigator of Snuggles.
None of there's I'm interested in exploring pretty much anything really if I can with my own cuisine making. I've had an increasing interest in trying food from Spain, a paella especially. The only problem is that's usually made with clams, and I live with people who can't stand any form of seafood.
I like seafood.
Hard being a chef when you live with people so frickin' picky.
Okay, well, never mind.
Always come over and cook for me.
Same, but it's not an obligation.
No. Okay, no.
Not an obligation, you say? Well, for you, Kit, I would trade food for your eggs.
Trade some eggs for some eggs.
Or whatever else you wanted. As far as you, Squishy, you're a good friend. You don't actually have to do anything if you want to.
Oh, really? That's how it is? So I have to pay in eggs?
You're making something in trade. I mean, if Squishy wants to make an offer for her own offer,
Well, I do make some other things that.
Oh, yes. You have chainmail deliciousness.
chainmail.
Chainmail. It's so pretty. I'm going to have to invite you over as a guest streamer one day with your chainmail. That would be really cool.
Hey, how about this? Triple. Your art, her chainmail, my cooking, stream. They're all art forms.
This is true.
Very true. And they're all, for lack of a better term, kind of monotonous. So
Tedious.
it's something you can talk over and still enjoy both the conversation and the art.
Mm-hmm.
And, well, y'all's can be. Cooking normally isn't that monotonous, though.
You want to get some?
Some food?
I got some chocolate and some. Riley get some?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that a Dante?
It was.
Hi, Dante. He's so cute. He's such an awesome little man. Wonder who he gets it from.
Could be me.
Peach, obviously.
No.
I don't know. You're pretty awesome as far as I'm concerned.
Well, thanks, everybody.
Thank you. I tell him that all the time.
Hi, Peach.
Hi, kitty.
Whoa.
Jasper, don't cuddle the pointy ends of the thumbtacks. That's Danger Mouse.
You never know what he's into.
Is this a don't shame the cat? It's not a toy.
Its own choice. Sorry, I made a Hitchhiker's Guide reference. An extremely subtle one.
Don't forget your towel.
Always got one.
The next revolver, but I'm good.
Don't forget the babel fish.
That's just awesome to me. I'm sorry. It's just.
What?
the idea of a babblefish.
Yeah. Ooh, it is
So
really
has
coming down
Jasper
there.
ever tried to go after your eggs when they're just sitting there?
No, he doesn't. Probably because
Well,
they
that's-
don't smell interesting enough. And I do have a bit of a nest to hold my clutch of eggs. But these little 3-inch ones are easy and fairly quick to put together so I can do more of my experimentation type stuff on them.
Hey, I found a meme that's not so nice, but it reminds me. You ready? Dream self, that plus-sized goth queen everyone ought to worship. This is true about you, though. But more
I'm
often
not
than not, plus-sized caffeine-addicted, perpetually tired baked potato.
I am proud to say I am not addicted to caffeine. I don't drink sodas. I don't drink a lot of coffee or tea. So why do I have all this excess weight? So unfair.
It all works out, though.
Yeah.
Just eat my cooking and smile all the time.
Yes, dear.
You're working off camera.
Thanks. There's kind of a Jasper in the way. I'm almost dead. I'm almost dead.
As per usual, he has to steal the show.
Yes. Because the show just happens to go through dinner time.
Naturally.
Really good one,
And
right?
I wish I had a furry friend to pet.
Yeah, it's off center. So, Jasper, get off the keyboard. You're opening stuff. Okay, so here's the zipper. Ta-da.
Yay!
And I think this one would benefit from those shimmer dots too. But I think I'll leave it as is. Unfortunately, the light cannot catch the metallic shimmer that's already on these. It's just super shiny.
And look, it's after the flower. And it's got one on the bottom.
So if James wants this one, I think, let's see, a 3-inch with no paint is 15, and it's 2 colors, so plus 10. But it's a pre-made, so minus 5. So $20.
Tell him what's up. I'll see if he's into that before he runs to work tomorrow, and if he gives me any cash for it, I might be able to get it by then.
Sweet.
If not, it might be a little bit longer, and we'll see if there's a hold fee as well.
Oh no, there's no hold fee.
Okay. I would charge one though, for your kind of work. It'd be worth it.
Nah. No hold fees.
Okay.
Jasper, you knocked down the other egg. Ooh. I don't know if you guys can see the shimmer in this yet, but these are dried now. It looks
Nice.
looks like little jewels.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. I really
Very
like
cool.
that. That's pretty. I'm gonna make a not a TikTok, an Instagram post of that one. So yeah, and this one I accidentally did upside down. But the way the scales are, it looks correct. Interesting. I like it. Okay, well, I had an extra long stream tonight. Thanks for joining, everybody, and thank you all for joining in on the chat and popping into the Discord. And I appreciate everybody's input and sharing and things like that. And of course, thank you for tuning in. Thank you, Jasper, for stealing the show as usual. Don't give me that angry look. You know you love the attention. You should purr for beverage. You should purr, baby.
Can't forget the last time I was there, he curled up on my lap for a nap.
Yeah, that was cool. He accepts you now.
Yeah.
You're now his pillow. Yay! I'm not always
That took
trapped.
a little while, but I don't mind it. I'm
And-
not the cat person. If he meets my sister or my father, that's not your cat anymore. He's going home.
So, yeah, I need to brush him. He's still shedding from winter. And he's my baby.
Because if you're gonna do that, I'm leaving.
No, don't touch the camera. You're going to make it break. So, yes. Thank you all for joining, and take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. Be kind. Ow. Bye, Jasper. And I will keep you guys posted on when the Etsy store is up. It should be up next month. So,
I'm excited.
It has been a genuine pleasure to join you again on the stream.
thank you. And thanks again, everybody. Take care of yourselves. Bye.